What's up YouTube, and welcome back to the channel. In today's video I'm going to try and make it as quick as possible. I know I say that a lot and I fall down the rabbit hole, but I'm going to try and make this within 5 minutes. Alright, so in today's video we're going to be talking about the different ways that you can apply for benefits, which way I think is the best, which way I think you should avoid, and how to prepare. So here we are again at SSA's website. This is their homepage, and you can see the very first things that you're seeing is prepare and apply. As far as this right here, plan for retirement, this is probably going to give you some sort of spreadsheet about your work history and what your benefits are looking like, probably at 62, full retirement age, and maybe 70. I don't think it breaks it down month by month. If you wanted something like that, you could contact your local office either in person or over the phone and ask for something called a benefit matrix. This will show you from month by month from 62 to your full retirement age to 70 what your monthly benefit would be. Then they also have categories in there if, let's say, that you're a surviving spouse as well, or even a spouse. So if you're eligible for retirement and spouse's benefits, or just spouse's benefits, I believe there's 4 different columns that will tell you what benefit you're eligible for and why. If you're asking for the benefit matrix and you're eligible for benefits as a spouse, make sure that when they're putting in the spouse benefit that they do the subtraction, right? So as an example, if let's say between your own record and as a spouse, you're eligible for $1,500 total for both of those benefits. Let's say that out of those 2 benefits, your own benefit is let's say $1,000, and then you're pulling another $500 as a spouse. You want the column that has your benefit in it to reflect 1,000, and the spouse column, this is the important part, the spouse column to reflect that 500. So if let's say you take at 62 and your full retirement age is at 67, maybe as a spouse you're eligible for $500 at 67, but you want to know what it is at 62, then that 500 starts to get reduced. Oftentimes what I see is they'll put your benefit in there and then they'll put the full spouse benefit in there. So let's say you didn't work at all, you had 0 work and you weren't eligible, here we go down the rabbit hole here, and you weren't eligible for retirement benefits under your own record, you would still be eligible for the same amount as a spouse, right? So you don't want them to put $1,500 in that box, you want them to put the difference. So you know what you're pulling from your record and what exactly you're pulling from the other record. Otherwise, you're going to have the wrong numbers on that benefit matrix, and your whole plan is shot, right? So it's like a garbage in, garbage out kind of thing with that benefit matrix. If they put the wrong information in there, they're going to hand you the wrong information, and your whole plan is going to be shot. Okay, so be very careful on how they complete that, and it frequently happens that they do it wrong, because a lot of the customer service people that generate that, they don't handle claims, they don't know how the benefits are computed, so that's why that happens a lot. Excuse me. Okay, so going back to the 4 different ways that you can apply: in person, over the phone, by mail, or online. All right, so let's go over the first 2, in person and over the phone. The conversation that you're going to have with Social Security is going to be exactly the same, whether you talk to somebody face-to-face in the office or you talk to somebody over the phone. Doesn't matter whether you're applying for retirement or disability benefits or survivor's benefits, it should be the same line of questioning. The only factor that comes into play is who's interviewing you and how much they care about their job. That's just the blunt truth, right? So what I would say, my preferred way that I tell people to apply is apply over the phone. If you're in the office, you're probably surrounded by a bunch of strangers and everybody can hear your business. No matter how quiet you are, somebody can hear what you're saying. You know, they're not necessarily trying to eavesdrop or take your information. It's just the way it is. Social Security offices are usually small. The desks where you get interviewed are usually right next to each other. It's probably like 5 or 6 desks, maybe more, depending on the size of the office. and you can usually hear the conversations that people are having. And that makes a lot of people uneasy because you're talking about sensitive information, your name, your date of birth, your social security number, maybe somebody else's social security number, your work history. If you're applying for disability, sometimes people have very sensitive conditions that, like one time I interviewed somebody who had they had AIDS and they had other STDs as well, and it was very embarrassing to say those things out loud, and you could tell that they were very bashful, but more importantly, they didn't want to say it, which is very important. Unfortunately, you have to say kind of what's going on or what the situation is. You know, if it's like a survivor claim, I've had people tell me horrific things about their spouse that recently passed away, you know, whether they were maybe a sex offender that had to, you know, and they were unfortunately molesting like their own grandchildren and things like that. I've had that actually happen on more than one occasion. I've had people, you know, with suicide, and it's sometimes it can be a very difficult conversation, either emotionally or whatever it might be, and again, going down the rabbit hole. So that's why a phone interview for me is the best, because you can do it from the comfort of your own home. There's less pressure. You don't feel like anybody is paying attention to what you're saying, except for obviously the person on the phone. But, you know, the only people that are hearing what you're saying is the people that you're allowing to hear what you're saying, is my point. And again, it's the same conversation. So now with that, if you do make a phone appointment, depending on the type of appointment that you have or what you're filing for, there might be prerequisites that or certain documents that you have to turn in for your claim. So usually the way this looks is if you call and you schedule your appointment, you're probably looking at least a month out before you actually before somebody takes your claim. And I could tell you if it's something for, let's say that you're filing as a surviving spouse or even a spouse or a divorced spouse, they're probably going to want your marriage certificate. So, and if you've been married more than once, what I always recommend to people, turn in every marriage and divorce decree, marriage certificate and divorce decree that you have, so that everything can be recorded, and now they know that they're supposed to review, or that they know that more than one marriage is involved, because you could have multiple entitlements to benefits. You could have multiple options. So as an example, let's say that you've been widowed twice. Now, and depending on your age, you might file a certain way because realistically there's 3 records involved. You could maybe apply for one record at 60, maybe switch to your own at 62, and then switch again to that highest record at your full retirement age at 67 or whatever it might be. Right? So there's a number of different ways that you could do it. So when you're calling to schedule your appointment, ask them what you will need in advance so that you can give it to them before your appointment. That way, while you're waiting those weeks to speak to somebody, they already have it ready to go, and they can complete everything on the day that they speak to you. Okay? So that would be my advice. My preference is to file over the phone. Okay? Excuse me. Now, what I like the least. I always say this to people. Never, ever, ever, ever file a claim online. The online office is not your local office. They are based out of somewhere else. And like I know for the East Coast, it's based out of Illinois. That office is not open to the public. So what that means is there's no way for you to call and check the status of your claim. You don't know who's processing your claim. I've seen where it takes months for a Medicare claim to get processed, and they have everything that they need. There's nothing holding it up except for the technician just pushing buttons, basically, right? So never, ever file online. And also, I've said this in multiple videos as well, don't ever contact the 800 number. If you ever visit your local office, let's say that you make your appointment in person, and you can make your appointment in person and your appointment can be on the phone, right? So if you have to go in there, anytime that you visit your local office, do not leave there without obtaining that office's direct phone number, so that you don't have to ever and save it in your phone, put it on the fridge, something like that, because if you contact the national 800 number that ends in 1213, it's probably on this page somewhere here, maybe not, you're going to be on hold for at least an hour, And then the person that you get on the phone, I have a friend that used to work at the National Call Center. And if that employee is on the phone longer than 5 minutes, they get questioned why they were on the phone so long. So what that means, they're quantity over quality. And those people at the national number are not trained to answer any type of in-depth questions. The amount of times that I've seen where somebody gave them wrong information and now that person comes and they deal with the local office and they're upset because they thought one thing and now it's another, countless times. And then they're also notorious because they're trying to get through your call so fast, they will miskey your information. They might put the wrong address, so now you don't even get your appointment letter. They might put the wrong telephone number, so then when the local office tries to call you, it's a bad number and they have no way to get in touch with you. Maybe they have the wrong address. I've even seen where they put in the wrong person, the wrong social security number, so it automates and pulls up somebody completely different, right? So always deal with your local office whenever possible. And if you're preparing to file your claim, let's say it's retirement benefits, you want to make sure, I highly encourage people to open up an online account. You can do it through here and review your earnings record. Make sure that your earnings record is up to date, especially my self-employed people. It would alarm you how many people who are self-employed claim a loss but still think that they're paying Social Security taxes. If you are self-employed and you claim a loss, you do not pay Social Security taxes and Medicare taxes, which means that, God forbid, you become disabled or you pass away. That means that your family is not eligible for any benefits either. So even in my own personal life, I recently had a family member who, out of nowhere, at 59, developed this pulmonary disease and had to stop working. And in her case, she was a nanny for a very long time and filed both self-employment and W-2 taxes. But there's years where for that self-employment, she claimed a loss because she wanted to keep more money in her pocket, more than likely. Or that's what her tax preparer was trying to do as well. But because she claimed that loss, she's 2 years shy and now is not eligible to file for disability benefits. And she's been out of work a year now, right? So especially if you're self-employed, you really want to make sure that you're claiming some sort of, even if it's the minimum, right? The minimum amount, I think in 2023 it's like $6,500, which means that you have to pay about $1,000 in taxes. I would gladly pay $1,000 to have disability insurance, which essentially includes Medicare, because if something happens, you get into a car wreck, you hurt your back or your neck, that's a big one, and you can't work for a long period of time. You want to make sure that you have something to supplement your income, get you through that period of recovery, and then hopefully you have health insurance as well through Medicare or maybe Medicaid. Right, so that would be my advice for you guys on how to prepare and apply. Make sure your earnings record is good to go.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your bell notifications so that you're always notified whenever I'm posting new content. If you have a question or want me to cover another topic, please leave a comment down below and I'll be sure to address it as soon as possible. Thank you so much and have a fantastic day.